thank you. And what an inspiration Annie Lennox is. I am inspired by her. I'm very, very pleased to be here today, and thank you to Women for Women for inviting me here. You know, all of us women standing on bridges, or nearly standing on bridges, in solidarity with 200 other bridges, women on bridges across the world, to build those bridges that build peace is the most inspiring. And today, the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day, is a day to think about women all across the world and to celebrate the amazing things that women do. But it is also a day to remember that in some parts of the world, women still face incredible hardships and problems. And this morning, and you're going to hear from shortly, I met 4 Afghani women politicians who every day have death threats and real fights against a standard of treatment of women that, thank God, we can only imagine in this country. And improving their lives is something close to my heart, and I was absolutely delighted when the Prime Minister appointed me Ministerial Champion to tackle violence against women across the world. And I am delighted to stand here today to announce the publication of the UK Action Plan, which outlines the actions that the government will take to address violence against girls and women through direct engagement in 15 of the poorest countries in the world and globally, working through our international partners and through UN Women. Many of the overseas countries where women face the greatest risk of violence are, as we know, in conflict zones. And that is why we in government are focusing so much of our effort on supporting women in countries that are in or who have just come out of conflicts, countries like Sierra Leone, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the country which I want to focus on today, Afghanistan. And I will be brief, but I need to talk about Afghanistan, to say what the government is doing in Afghanistan. Because first of all, it's important that we recognise that there has been progress for women and girls. Under the Taliban and that brutal regime, women were stoned to death for adultery. They experienced discrimination in every single part of their lives, and they were routinely treated as worse than second-class citizens. A few years ago, virtually no girls went to school, but recently they had, virtually no girls went to school, and I forgot to tell you the good news, which is now over 2 million girls go to school in Afghanistan. And it makes a difference. More than 1 in 5 of the 1,600 participants in June's peace meeting were women in Afghanistan. And in September, the parliamentary elections, more than 15% of the candidates and nearly 40% of the voters were women. And this is progress. So Afghanistan has come a long way, but they continue to face huge challenges: high illiteracy rates, domestic violence, forced marriages, poor access to healthcare, lack of livelihood. So we know to do much more to improve the status and rights of women in Afghan society, particularly in rural societies. And that's where we come in. The British government has an essential role to play, and the funding we've given to Afghan government has supported or helped support the salaries of 50,000 women teachers. We're funding programs that promote women's equal participation in government. And if we don't involve Afghani women in the solution to the conflict, there won't be a lasting solution. We need more women around the negotiating table, and we will keep pressing for it. In conclusion, it might be easy for us here in London to think that all that matters for women is equal pay, equal access to jobs, flexible maternity leave. And of course, all those things do matter terribly, and I fight every day for those as well. But I'm really glad that today, on the centenary of International Women's Day, everyone here is not just thinking about themselves. Instead, we are showing solidarity with courageous survivors of sexual violence across the world, and searching for ways to empower women fighting injustice and insecurity in some of the most difficult environments of Earth. And I want you to know that I am absolutely committed, as you are, to this campaign. And I am going to make sure that all the resources, the money, and the influence of government that I can get are brought down on the side of women. Thank you.